Welcome to Make Your Money Matter. I'm Brad Barrett. Hey, today on our show, we're going to talk about how a diversified portfolio, as boring as that may seem to some of you and to the world of media, they like to throw shade on this. It can work even though it may never feel good. But before we get started, make sure to smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. All right, let's get started. Okay, so I don't know about you, but lately on social media and in news outlets and different segments on shows, I've been seeing this whole 60-40 allocation is dead. And look, I showed this before last year on an episode as well, that I'm well aware that we can't just, everybody fits into some certain model and mode. I get that. In fact, that's why we talk heavily about finding tailored and custom management. But I came across a really great statistic around diversified portfolios. And I speak about this all the time with our clients and here on our show. And it was actually printed and described through Morningstar. And it was the end of 2023, and it shows the S&P 500, the actual stock market, if you will, as well as a diversified portfolio and the two differences. Now, I want to share this on the screen here for a second. I want to talk about this because it actually does go back over 20 years. So it talks about different environments. You see 2000, 2002, 2003, 2007. You even see 2008 during the financial crisis. They even have the first quarter and the second quarter of 2020 because it obviously shows the pandemic era. It showed the bear market recently at 2022, as well as a great market year ending last year of 2023. Now, real quickly, just to go through this for a second, you can see the market over that entire time period. The total return based on these numbers were 390.8%, whereas in a diversified portfolio was just a hair above that. Now, what I want to talk about here is the conversation that many of us have sometimes around, I should just be in the stock market, or why would I go and pay an advisor for a diversified portfolio, or feeling like it's not working and you're not making enough, right? Well, here's the reason why. And I want to show on the side here for a second is the emotions that my clients have typically gone through. You can see how it's written down, right? And we've talked about this here on the show, even of these specific time periods, right? So for example, 2000, 2002, just go there for a second. When you had the S&P 500 off over 40% and diversified portfolio is off about 15%. The connotation there, or the feeling is to the right, if you see the emotion is, I lost money. Now, interestingly enough, the biggest thing that comes up to me is context. If you only look at your portfolio, diversified portfolio, and it's down 15%, you think, I lost money. You are completely disregarding the fact that the market went down almost 3 times that. We didn't lose as much as the market. And I would even say that if you look right next, the next year, 2003 and then 2007, when you had somewhat of a bull market run, you were actually ahead of the market because you managed your downside risk. And you can see there, though, the emotion was diversification was working. That's what they kind of wrote in there. And I like that. So, okay, this is working. All right. Now, this chart, which I love, the statistic in these numbers that came through this report, it was like, I lost money. And then you're like, oh, diversification works. And then you're like, oh, I lost money again. Oh, it works, but it didn't work as much. These are things that we talk about. Then it's the whole concept of I lost money again. Like you remember when you lost money in, say, 2000, for example. And then you start remembering, oh, wait, I didn't make as much. And you can see it goes on and on. Now, at the end, you start realizing that diversification can work even when it feels like it's losing. Friends, I know that this comes across pretty hard, like right on the nose with regards to many money managers out there saying, just stay the course, right? And I get that because I always use this term with my clients, and I'm going to share it with you. I call it actively waiting. By no means am I out here to say that you should be sitting on your hands and this portfolio allocation should just be set it and forget it and never touch, because that's not true. Any good portfolio manager should be rebalancing for you. They should be tax loss harvesting for you if it's in a taxable account. Basically, things like a trust account or an individual account, but not an IRA. And there's a lot of active management that needs to be gone through here. So let me give you a quick example. Like let's say, for example, January 1st, and I'm gonna pick a year here, pick 2023, all right? Take last year. Imagine you were 60% equity, 40% fixed income on January 1st of last year, and the manager didn't touch it, all right? Didn't touch it at all. You didn't touch anything, all right? You just set it and forget it for the whole year. Okay, so you look at the numbers here, and you say, okay, the S&P 500 did about 26.3%. The diversified portfolio did about 15.9. So you didn't make as much, but remember, on the whole, right, diversification does still work. You can see these numbers, but what I'm trying to share in my quick example of making sure you are actively waiting and managing the account is that even though you didn't touch it, and even though the diversified portfolio went up, the majority of that positive return is in the equity markets, which is 60% of your portfolio. Now, if you don't touch it, and I'm doing very simple math here, so don't take this as gospel, all right? Hypothetically, let's say 10% of that 16% was equity, and the other 6 was fixed income. Again, hypotheticals, right? Now, all of a sudden, You went from 60% equity allocation to 70%. So now your allocation starting January 1 of this year is no longer 60-40, it's now 70-30. That may not be what you want. So things like rebalancing matter, especially when it comes to actively managing a portfolio. And it's something that you should be asking your manager if they're doing this for you, because although in this example I'm bringing up to you that diversification does work, it doesn't mean you just set it and forget it and say, oh, Brad on Make Your Money Matter said it works, so I'm just going to let it ride. No. It means you actually have to manage it and find someone to manage it for you. You have to go through it consistently. Rebalancing your allocation is a part of this structure. Your manager is going to go through rebalancing structures with you. That's how you get a diversified portfolio that actually works for you. And as you can see here, based on over the last 20 years on this data set, right? Even though it doesn't feel like you're making money all the time, in fact, you might even feel like you're losing money or you're not making as much as the market or your buddies or something like that, diversification still can work, as you can see here, even when it feels like it's not. And so I just want to say to everybody, it's like you have to really find that balance with your advisor to stay the course. Trust in the process. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that today. If you did, make sure to subscribe to our show so you don't miss a single episode. And always remember to make your money matter.